Hi, and thanks for joining. I've been asked by a couple of people if I could just talk through drawing flowers. I did a couple of videos on cosmos and anemones where I painted them, and they just, I thought today for beginners I'd do a little bit more detail about how I did the initial sketch. So these are my pencils. A good tip is to always keep them in order. From 5H through to F there, so I always keep them in order so I know where I'm at with them. Normally I would use a harder pencil for sketching, so that it just makes a faintish line so that it's not going to show when I do my painting. But today, so that it shows up for you on the video, I'm going to use a slightly softer pencil. It seems the wrong way around, that the softer lines or the fainter lines are made using a hard pencil at this end, and the dark lines are made with a much softer pencil. You can see I like these dark ones. When you're doing a sketch and it's just a pencil sketch, you can get some lovely tones going on. You can smudge them with your finger and things like that. So, it's good to have a full range and to really get to know them and use them all, but keep them in order. Okay, so this one I'm using is a 2B. Now, when I sharpen my pencils, I always use a knife. I never use a pencil sharpener. I always use this. It's a retractable one, so you can keep it safely in your pencil case, and when these get blunt you just snap them off and go to the next one. And you can be quite controlled with how you sharpen them, using your thumb to sort of push the knife along and get that nice tip on your pencil. This one doesn't actually need much sharpening, but I'll just show you. Okay, and I do that onto a tissue, so I've caught all the bits there. So just move that out of the way. And I was going to start by showing you this little cosmos, which is a lovely flower that's flowering at this time of year. And as you can see from that, it's all going to fit into a circle. It's a completely round shape. So we need to think about drawing a circle. Now, even if the cosmos is facing away from us, or if we're looking at it from the side, it's still essentially a circle. It's just that we can't see the whole thing. So we still need to be drawing that circle to fit them into. So the easiest way to draw flowers is to start with an outline of the initial shape and then fit your petals and things into that. So I'm going to imagine that this one's on its side. Now, you'll be looking at it from a different angle to myself, because the camera's at a different angle to my eye, so it might not look on the paper just as you're seeing it, but I'll just draw it. I'll just have a look, see if you can still see that. Yeah, I'm just going to draw it on the side. So like I say, your circle's still there, but it's an ellipse, and I've angled it slightly to give it a bit more of a jaunty angle. So you do a nice ellipse, and when you're drawing ellipses, use your whole arm, don't just use your wrist. When you're drawing and everything's tight, you're holding onto your pencil tightly, and your wrist's tight and all your muscles are tight, your drawing will be stiff and it will look, you're making the job harder for yourself really, because you're becoming tense, and that'll show in your drawing and it becomes hard work. Relax your hand, relax your wrist, and draw with your arm, move your arm around. I tend to draw more standing up at the easel so you can get more movement, but just try and relax and enjoy your drawing. Okay, so then obviously this centre piece here is also a circle, so we can pop that in as well, and then we'll look at where things are connecting. So I'll just start. And some of these petals are going to break that line. That circle is to work to give you something, a framework to work to. Okay. And don't worry about getting every little petal and every detail exactly right. As long as you're getting the essence of the flower. If you're a botanical artist and you want to do it completely accurately, that's a different thing. But for the purposes of what I want to do, I just usually want to get a feel for the flower. And get the essence of it, and that it's the particular flower. Now, from where I'm looking at, the angle I'm looking at it, this petal here is actually covering some of this here. It's coming across like this. So I would just rub that shape a little bit out there, and you can see the back of the petal. It's curved over, so it comes over, and you can see the tip of it there, and then the back of it going down out of the way and curving round. So it looks a funny shape at the moment. Once you get all the colours and the shades into that, it'll look different again. And these are a funny, sort of a funny angle to come at, because the two here are like little wings from where again, you've got it at a completely different angle. It will look completely different, but they're fitting into it like a little cup. It's making a cup shape, and they're going up like that. Okay, I've probably done that a little bit too wide, that piece there. But you'll take more time than I am doing getting it completely accurate. Or not completely accurate, but more accurate than I've got time to do just here. Okay, so just keep looking at where they're all going, where they're overlapping. That one's actually coming down behind that one. That one disappears completely out of sight down there. This I haven't got quite long enough. Then you've got another one that's coming out from there and scooping round. And again, you can see, from where I'm looking, you can see a corner of it where it's just coming over. Okay. One of the reasons this doesn't look right is I haven't got that long enough. That comes much further out than that. So you can correct your drawing all the time as you're going along. And again, this one's scooping up. You can see the edge of it, and you can see the back of it as well because of the angle that it's going. Okay, so that's more or less where all those petals are from where I'm looking at it, without much detail. And I'm just going to draw to get rid of some of those guidelines now, because you can see how it's all fit into that circle, and that's just been there to give you a guide where the shape should be going. And it's like a little saucer really, isn't it, on its side. And then you could pop some of these little, I don't know what they're called, whatever they're called, underneath the little green things. And there's a little sort of cup thing there that it all fits into. Now when you draw the stem of a flower, start your hand here. Even though you're not drawing there, start your hand there, because that's where it's attached at the back of the flower. If you just stick the stem any old where, it's not going to look like it's attached. If you start your hand there, move it along and then go down, it looks as if it's attached in the right place. Okay, so that's that one from an angle. Now you could use the same flower and have a look at it and do it from the front. I'm just going to move the paper along slightly so that you can see that. So doing it from the front, so it's a complete circle, you just start with a circle. And again, put the centre in. And then if you look at these petals on here, these ones are above these ones. Now with a drawing, if you were just doing the whole thing in pencil, you would carry on and you would get this effect by making sure the shadows were in the right place and all these lines were going in the right direction, get those curves coming up to give you that effect of it being 3D and of these ones being above these ones. And obviously with your paint you're going to get that effect by leaving some highlights and using some darker colours, some shadow, and getting all that in the right place and making sure these veins are going in the right direction. Okay, so it's just so at the moment we might not just achieve that effect because we're just putting guidelines in really to work to, more of a skeleton really. So I'll start with these ones that are above, because we can see both sides of the petal. Now when somebody's looking at your painting later, they're not going to have this flower in front of them, so you're not going to have to worry about exactly, you know, how many petals you're putting in or where each one's overlapping, because the person looking at your painting is just going to see a pretty painting. They're not going to be worrying about whether you've got it completely accurate. So don't get bogged down in looking at everything and panicking that you've got it in the wrong place. So some of these are obviously overlapping, and some break the edge of the circle because obviously it's nature, it's not all completely uniform. Okay, so you can already see that those are behind because you can't see the edge of those petals. And you could put a bit of texture in those with a few dots. Okay, and get rid of those lines again. Now I don't put too much detail into the initial drawing when I'm painting. I like to do my drawing with painting. Of course, if you've got something wrong, keep looking, keep observing. The thing about getting an accurate drawing is to look and look again, keep observing the flower. And when you come to painting and you think, oh, that's a bit wrong, that doesn't just look quite right there, keep readjusting it, correcting your drawing with your painting. Don't be frightened, don't be set to it once it's drawn. Don't think, oh, it's, I'm going to have to go along with that line because that's what I've done and I've started painting. Correct it. Alter things if it doesn't look right to your eye. And when you get so far along with your painting as well, if you're working from a photograph or if you're working from life, stop looking at the subject as much and start looking more at your drawing and your painting and think, what does it need doing, what does it need altering. Yeah, excuse me, that's the phone. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I just had to duck off there and answer the phone. So we've rubbed those guidelines out. Now, the good thing about this is you can imagine doing a full painting and actually just using one flower because you can put it at different angles. You could perhaps do it from the back. And, if you can imagine if you did another one up here from the back, you can make it soon look like a little vase of flowers or some flowers growing in the garden and have them from all different angles. Perhaps use different shades to draw them, as to paint them as well when you get to your painting. So you don't need a lot of material to just get going and have a play with it. But the thing is, just keep looking, keep observing. The more you look, the more detail. You'll come back to it another day and you say, oh, I didn't notice that little line there, or I didn't notice that there, and they're very intricate in the centre there as well. So how much detail you want to put in is up to you. I don't do a lot of detail. I'll leave that for my painting later, and even then I keep it quite loose. But if you want to go in and put all this detail in, if you've got that, if you're a more patient person than I am, you might want to put all these extra little details in. And all this, if you just examine it and see what it's made of, those are made of little circles in the middle, so you've got more circles and then these on the outside. Just look how it's made up and think of it in shapes. Don't panic and think of it as a whole thing. Think of it as a series of lines and shapes, and just draw those. Okay, so I'll pop the cosmos to one side, and the other thing I brought from the garden this morning, I'll just have a tidy up here, move that pad up a little, just check you can still see what I'm doing, was a rose. Now, a lot of people struggle with roses, they're quite difficult to draw. This it's gone and lost a petal since I've picked it, but it's... The reason I think people struggle with them is because they've just got so many petals, and they get worried about, get lost in the petals, doing every single petal exactly where it is, and then panicking and, oh, I've lost my line. Don't think like that. Think like getting an essence of a rose or, the general shape. Now, if you look at it like that, again, it's a round. Start off by drawing a circle, and then I usually start in the centre with roses because you sort of... you start with these ones here and work out. And the thing to remember with them is they always overlap. So you can see this petal here starts behind this one and finishes behind this one. So they're always overlapping. Oops. It's dropping in bits as we're doing it. So that was a bad one to pick. But from the side, you can see again, it would be like this one up here. You do a little cup shape, another ellipse shape, and pop those into it, and here where you've got, can you see, you've got them overlapping, you see that little shape there, and it's a little cup, and again another one going in this direction, and you get to see the edge of the petals more, which again I think people struggle with. But just look where the line is, and don't worry about each one. Think of it as a series of shapes and curves. Just think, well, that's one line, I've got a line there, a line there. You're drawing a triangle there and you're drawing a curve there. And just keep thinking of it like that and looking at it like that instead of panicking. And just patiently go along. And again, don't worry. It's just getting the essence of that flower and the fact that it's nice and open. And with the roses, you've always got these little bits coming down, which makes it a rose as well. And that, where it's quite round there at the base, so you get that. I'll just rub those lines out of the back there, and then you can see what I'm talking about. how these come up like this, and get that nice point on the end of them, and then you've got that quite bulbous bit there with the stem coming out, and already that's making it into a rose because you've got that little bit there that's quite unique to that plant. Okay, and if it doesn't look right and you want to put an extra petal in, you want to balance it a bit, put some extra petals in, it doesn't matter, nobody's going to know. Okay, so I think I've perhaps covered the basics there about your sketching. The main thing is, I think I've said this in other videos, keep practicing with your drawing, doing a little bit every day, and observe. It's all about your eyes, it's about what you see. It's not about whether you can hold a pencil or not, it's about whether your eyes can see what's in front of you. And keep observing, keep looking, and keep thinking of your subjects in front of you as a series of lines and shapes. Look where those lines start and end, look at the shape of them, you know, and think in those terms, and you'll soon find that your drawings are coming together more. So practice and enjoy your drawing. If you want to ask me anything that I've left out, I got a little bit distracted there because the phone went, so I've probably missed something that I was going to tell you. If you've got anything you want to ask me, just either put it in the comments below, or you can email me or message me directly. I'm quite happy to get back to you that way, that's fine. So thanks again for watching. I'll pop this little video into the beginners playlist, and that's about it really. So like I say, just shout it out if you've got some questions for me, and thank you for watching. Bye bye.